As expected, Tony Mitchell is in the portal officially from Alabama. That was the other one I kept hinting to, that there'd be a couple of DBs. People are already asking about depth in the secondary there. I'm not concerned about the depth in the secondary. I'm concerned about experience in the secondary. But you lose a couple of late guys in the portal.
I think when people say depth, they're really talking about experience. I think that's what they mean by that.
Because there are a lot of bodies down there.
Yeah, I mean, you can have bodies. I mean, Alabama will never have a shortage of bodies.
Right.
Like, I mean, Kalen DeBoer could have gone public and said, I'll tell you what we need is defensive backs, and the transfer portal will have been flooded with defensive backs to come to try to play for Alabama. You can have all the bodies you want. I think when people say depth, they really mean experienced depth.
I forget who it was. It flew by in the chat room there. I would just say that you had 3 blue-chip DBs that came in the recruiting class, and none of them left. They're all still there, right? And you brought in a starter from Michigan and a starter from USC, and really you've only lost a couple in this whole thing, right? You lost Caleb, that was a uber star.
You did not want to lose him.
That is still to date the only loss that has mattered to me from Alabama.
The Woodyard kid who never played a snap last year was, 4-star?
4-star, but he was rated really high, going to be a good guy somewhere, and he's out the door. And Tony Mitchell had great expectations coming from Thompson, but has never really got it going. He's going to be great somewhere probably. Just doesn't look like it's going to be Alabama.
Right.
Experience depth, I'm worried about. Got a lot of young, but a lot of talented people in Tuscaloosa.
I mean, yeah, again, talent and bodies will not be an issue very much in Tuscaloosa. If so, the coach will be fired. I'm not saying DeBoer, I'm saying any coach. I just think people are worried about experience depth because you're going to a system schematically that's probably going to ask more of your defensive backs than the system you're in. Not necessarily what they do when they're on the field, though it may, but you're probably going to need more bodies to run out there on a consistent basis than you did under Nick Saban. So I think that's why people are concerned is they hear the 5 in that defense, right? They hear the number 5.
That's right.
And they start saying, well, if there's a 5 in the back of that defense, I'm going to have 5 really good defensive backs to start a game. And then I'm probably going to need 10 good ones to finish a game, right? So they start doing the math, and they're like, I don't count 10 that I really trust right here. So I think that's when people say depth, I think that's what they're saying.
Well, here's Will. He says if Damani Jackson goes down, it might end up being similar to LSU last year, not to be dramatic.
That is dramatic.
Can you imagine if you had an Alabama defense giving up, 35-plus every game?
I don't want to do those shows.
No, me either.
Poor Kane Womack.
Yeah, I think, but you're going to have injuries, and that's the thing. I mean, you got injuries every year, so that's what people worry about is when you're asking for more defensive backs. One injury there, Damani Jackson or somebody like that, can really put you in a bind.
Yeah. So it's interesting as this portal. Now this was just the deadline to get in to the football portal. All the ones that are out there can still find places. So if I ask you the question, and I'll ask this of Auburn in just a second, for Alabama, one position you would still go tab somebody in the portal if there's somebody out there you like. Is it defensive line? Is it the edge? Is it a linebacker? Is it a DB?
DB, I still need to see a dominant wide receiver.
Yeah, you still want a wide receiver.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's that guy in the portal.
Yeah.
So that guy's probably not available.
Might have gotten him in recruiting. You don't know yet.
In Ryan
Williams, you might have. You don't know yet. But you're right, Lance. I mean, they don't have the guy that is the proven dominant guy, and I'm not sure he exists in the portal either. I tell you, man, this time of year when you can't take those SEC guys, that portal gets thin, doesn't it?
That's right. When you can't bring somebody in from the SEC.
Yeah.
For instance. I mean,
that's 15 schools that I am no-go, no-fly zone.
Did you ever check to see if say Caden Proctor had left Alabama,
right,
and had gone to another SEC school, does it also count that he can't go back to Alabama?
What do you mean by that?
Like
if he had gone to Ole Miss.
Gone Alabama, Ole Miss, Alabama.
I think if he's enrolled, he couldn't.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, that gets me to.
Was he enrolled?
That gets me like if you're looking for another good linebacker, there's one in the portal. He just happened to played his last game at Alabama. He just spent all spring at Texas. Guy by the name of Kendrick Blackshire. Remember how big of a get that was for Sark? Sark was, I think it was in February. This was one of the exits right after Nick Saban came. Kendrick Blackshire was, I would think Sark posted what a coming home. I think he said, coming home, Duncanville, Texas, coming home. He's leaving home. He's not coming home anymore.
Yeah, lost the key.
Yeah.
I mean, they're almost mini vacations for some of these guys.
Some of these guys just spent spring at a different destination, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the ruling on that. I'm going to assume it has to do with enrollment. So if Kendrick Blackshire was enrolled in taking classes in Austin, my assumption would be, I'll try to confirm this, but my assumption would be he's in the no-fly zone.
Yeah.
Because, again, Texas and Oklahoma, while they are not official conference members, have agreed to operate by this rule that the SEC coaches put in place.